everybody, welcome to another episode of Late 90s PC Gaming, and today we're looking at Extreme Paintbrawl 2. Yes, the sequel to the #1 best-selling paintball game. I wonder how many there were around this time. It's kind of not really much of a competition, is it? The big indicator of this game's quality, other than the MS Paint style cover, is Head Games Publishing down there at the bottom. You know, the guys that published Extreme Boards and Blades. This game came out in 1999, and there's 4 titles in the entire series. Now, the reason why I'm looking at this one and not the first one is because this is actually the only one I have physically. And this was a game that it just found its way into my hands. I don't remember buying this, so it was probably in one of those giant bundle buys I've done all the time. So, yeah, whoever gave me this, thanks. So, shockingly enough, it works in Windows 10 with no issues. You greet it with some amazing splash screens like Head Games Publishing, just so they can laugh in your face. When you get to the main menu, you can do instant action or season play. Season play has a bit of a money mechanic, and you can buy markers and a red dot sight, and more ammo and CO2 or whatever. There's also grenades. You can also hire different team members, and for some reason, this made me think of Counter-Strike Condition Zero. But I can tell you right now, no matter who you pick, the AI is garbage. Each level's the same, just clear out all the enemies, but they put a little bit of flavor text to make it sound like you're doing something more. But it's just paintball. Oh, I'm sorry, it's paintbrawl. So like, when, you know, it's the whole, when you shoot someone with the paintball, they put their hands up and it's over. It's like, why don't they just give us guns and go shoot one another? Why do they have to make it a paintball game? I don't know. I don't know. Apparently, this game only took like 2 weeks to make or something crazy like that, and it really shows. You don't have to complete the objective to move on to the next level and get some funds for it. And all the markers are pretty trash. You pretty much have a trade-off. Do you want your marker to be really accurate or to be fully automatic? They're both terrible. The really accurate markers shoot once, and then you're sitting there clicking away, hoping to shoot another shot, but the rate of fire is really low, so there's a good chance that the enemy AI is going to take you out first. And then there's the fully automatic one, which just shoots everywhere but where you're aiming. In fact, all the paintballs in this game, even with the most accurate weapon, just fly all over the place insanely. I just don't understand the physics behind this. I want to see the code. I want to see the source code. How did they program this? Is it just like a flip of a coin about where it goes? I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. And it'd be fine if there was a weapon that, you know, was like the best weapon in the game that you could save up money for. But I haven't found a single marker that is worthwhile. It's just a miserable experience. The grenade works. I guess it works. Normally I just throw it around the corner and check, and usually everyone's gone. Not entirely sure how the air works, but, you know, it's down there. And the AI is pretty terrible, as mentioned before. You can give them commands, but they won't listen to it. They just kind of always default to assault after a while, and they just run into the walls. Enemy AI is a little bit smarter to a degree, but they do have issues. Probably the worst game I've ever played for late 90s PC gaming, to be honest. At least Boards and Blades had some interesting glitches. It had 2 fat guys' computers or whatever. This is just, woof. It is miserable. During the splash screens, I saw Hoplite, and I guess they're the ones that developed this. They're the same ones that made that Hooters game. They probably made some other things, but I can't for the life of me think of it. And I don't really care to research it. Point is, this is a bad game, but no one was expecting it to be a good game. The writing is on the wall. And I can't believe I'm comparing 2 awful games. But I guess Boards and Blades would be better, but then again, it had a different developer, so so Hoplite. Well, what am I trying to discuss here? They're both awful. But just like Boards and Blades, this game has a soundtrack that's worth talking about. Boards and Blades had the Ferd Band, and it's very experimental, and I go back and forth on whether or not I like it. I think it'd be great in something like Lisa or some other experimental game, or maybe those like walk-in sims on itch.io or whatever. But Extreme Paintbrawl has a legitimately good soundtrack. no idea why this soundtrack is so amazing, but it's awesome. And if you want to listen to the whole thing, Jeff Schlegg actually did upload the entire original soundtrack to YouTube, and I'll link that in the description below. Go listen to it. It's awesome. And like I'm definitely don't play the game just to hear the soundtrack, because you'll be miserable. But at least with this, you can just, you know, have a good time listening to the tunes and pretend like it's coming from a much better game. And that's the main reason why I want to talk about this game, was the soundtrack. And I knew this game existed, and I knew it was horrible, which is why I never like played it myself. But the moment Jeff Schlegg posted that soundtrack, I was like, that's awesome. I want to have an excuse to talk about it. So I was forced to play this wonderful masterpiece of a game. Man, this is like the 5th time in a row that I've covered something awful. 6 if you count the fact that I didn't really like Shadow Man. 7 if, you count other things. Maybe more. I cover a lot of trash now to think about it. So you know what? The next episode of Late 90s PC Gaming will be a good game. It's a game that's been covered to death. I'm not exactly sure what I can bring to the table, but just as a refresher, a nice palate cleanser, the next episode will be probably, objectively, one of the best shooters ever to come out in the late 90s. But get ready, because I'm going to have some annoyingly contrarian opinions about it. So get ready for that. And if you know what it is, put it down in the comments and speculate. But, I mean, best shooter?